afternoon everyone. So how was your week? I hope na permahan ang tanan sa clearance because kapoy kayo kung pagdukod sa tao nga dili sa imo ganahan is tigukod sa mga tao nga needed nimo kay di nahanglan jud mapermahan, diba? So of course, no? Dili na nato tugayon. Anyo nga sayo, Janet. Yourself, Carmina, Nervasa, Amida. And, of course, I was assigned to discuss or report about lesson planning. Unsa kaning lesson planning? Na-curious ba mo? Then, ayo jud paghawa sa akong class para imo jo makatunan kung unsa jud ni ang lesson plan or lesson planning. Alright? With our learning objectives, define lesson plan, and the last one is to discuss the steps in making lesson plan. Of course, here as part in our learning objectives, you will learn how to make a lesson plan. You will learn what are the steps. Of course, we will discuss about the steps in making lesson plan, no? But before we proceed to our actual discussion, let me open the floor for our opening activity, which will serve as the opener of our brain cells and of course our learning body, no? So I hope mo cooperate for tanan because it is very easy right guys tanan, no? Of course, I have here. Okay, by the way, my activity is called Solve Me to Know Me. Okay, again, the activity again is called Solve Me to Know Me. You need to solve these pieces of papers, no? Actually, puzzle ni siya and you need to solve it para makaibaw mo kung unsa din niya ako ang gihatag sa inyo ha na surprise, no? I prepared here a puzzle and since I love you guys, I will give you a hint. It's all about lesson planning and this will help you create your own lesson plan, no? It is a symbol that will remind you what and how you are going to teach and also what you want them to learn as a teacher. Again, it is a symbol or this is a symbol that will remind you what and how you are going to teach and also what you want them to learn as a teacher. Alright, no? Para mas challenging pag yun, I will limit your time and since gamay rani and ubay-ubay sad mo, of course, we will form one team only but dapat tanan mo cooperation and na-agree makontribute sa ato ang activity. Again, although we will form only one team but dapat tanan mo participate and cooperate para na-assign points ang tanan, no? Note, always remember that aside from we learn a lesson in this activity, I am also expecting to witness a real teamwork. Again, I want to see a real teamwork. Dapat na ay teamwork, okay? Klaro kay tanan ang question mark. Naaning question mark kay teacher nga nung man imo activity sa mua. It's because my dear students, ang pinay question mark is about asking yourself. Pangutan ako nimo kagalingon. Atong pangutanon atong kaugalingon. Ngano ka question mark ang gihatag ni teacher na activity? Yes, anyone? Yes, it's because question mark or asking is part or connected to kung unsa nga ato ang main topic today, no? Atong main topic today which is isay makahula. Yes? Raise your hand. Yes, it's all about lesson planning. Correct. No, lesson planning. Yes. Because in lesson planning, you will ask yourself, as a teacher, you will ask yourself, kung sa di ay posibleng makatulong makatunan sa akong bata ani nga lesson di ay. Unsa man ang ginahan ako nga makatunan ninyo. Yes, in lesson planning, it is full of asking questions. Ngano kini, nganong katu, nganong kani, no? Daghan kay pangutana. That's it. Okay, now let's proceed to our actual discussion. We have here lesson plan. Unsa man ini lesson plan, teacher? Ngano gi-apply man ini sa inyong discussion karon? Of course, importante nga imong hibawan unsa man yung lesson plan because tuhon kamo na sa mismo ang buhat saon di ay ipagtimo ang lesson plan. Inana na siya kayo, no? First step. Wait. Yes, no? Inana na siya kayo. Now, unsa man ini lesson plan, teacher? Yes, Nigeria. Yes, lesson plan is an instructor roadmap. Provides review with a general outline of goals and learning activities. We have three concepts and many lesson plans. What are these? We have here learning objectives. We have learning objectives, learning activities, and assessment to check for student understanding. Lastly, assessment to check for student understanding. Of course, importante yun ang lesson plan because in lesson plan, you will know if nakasabot ba yung mga estudyante ani. Using these three concepts, no? Na kay goal, na kay activity, and of course, naasap kay pag-check kung nakatinuod ba yun na naka-understand ang imuha mga estudyante. Of course, no? Now, let's proceed to the 6 steps for preparing your lesson plan. Sure, usa din niya ang 6 ka steps in preparing lesson plan. Well, ayaw pagdali kay mapandot ta. So, atong hinahinayon o pasabot sa inyo ha. First, we have here, identify the learning activities. Sure, unsa din identify the learning activities? Of course, to identify the learning activities, to describe what the learner will know or be able to do after the learning experiences. No? The characteristics that the learning objectives should possess. No? In identifying the learning objectives, of course, it is very important, no, to describe kung unsa man ang posibleng makatunan sa imong bata ani nga lesson. Unsa man ang ilahang unsa man ang imuhang eager kaayo nga needed nimo mahatag sa ilahang information. Yes, mauni ang sa imuhang learning objectives. Bali, mauni ang goal nimo as a teacher adto sa imuhang mga estudyante. Yes, of course, naagit tay in identifying the learning objectives, naa sa tay characteristics that a learning objective should possess. Of course, first we have here dapat clearly stated task, no? In other words, free from jargon such as describe. In other words, free from jargon. Kanang liko-likuon pa, no. Say no to that. Dapat direct, diretso, no? Clearly stated task. Diretso ra jud kay siya. Wala na ilaing liko-liko. Of course, example rin yung mga action word, no? Kay according to Mr. Mondelo pa na dapat ang ato ang learning objectives should start with a action word. Of course, for example, ani is kanang describe, no? Analyze, evaluate, and many more, no? Basta always you remember na dapat verb ang imuhang first no word nga gamiton in making your objectives, no? Learning objectives. First, second, we have here important learning goals. Sama din important learning goals, no? Important learning goals is to describe learning which should student must achieve. Okay, same sa kung ganina nga ang kining learning goals nimo is dapat ang mao ni pinaka-focus nimo. Usa gyud pinaka-main nga makatunan sa imong estudyante ani nga lesson. Mo na as a teacher, you will ask yourself unsa gyud di ay ang unsa gyud ay ang makatunan sa akong estudyante ani nga lesson, no? So, that's it. The third one, we have achievable. No, achievable means achievable with in the given period. Of course, dapat dili ta mo over limit. Kung 1 hour and 30 minutes, dapat 1 hour and 30 minutes ra sad ang imuhang ma-take up within sa klase. Of course, kay since ang time no dili man mag-urong and needed nato gukdon, di ba? Gukdon nato ang oras as well as dapat naa sa gyud sila makuha nga learnings. So that's it, dapat achievable. Next, demonstrable and measurable. Demonstrable and measurable. Unsa man di siya? Okay, can be observed in identifying your learning objectives. No, dapat makita lang siya or ma-observe lang sa mga bata. While you are discussing here, no, while you are discussing, dapat ma-observe lang sa bata, mo din na, sakto din ang gikuan ni teacher, kay nakita ra sa namo mismo, no? Mismo sa iyang atubangan, iyang i-demonstrate, o inana, dapat measurable and demonstrable. And fair and equitable with disabilities or constraints, dapat fair chance of achieving goals. Of course, in your learning objectives, dapat fair or give ka mo hatag, o dapat in your learning objectives, dapat fair or good ang learners nga imuhang i-goal, no? Dapat wala lang kay pilion na dapat inilang sika ng normal dapat kanilang mga bright may dapat kanilang mga bright may makakuha ni ako ang di-discuss karon. No, dapat dili, dapat fair tanan, mapabungol buta kanang grabe ka bright or gamay lower gamay yahang kanang or lower gamay ang iyang understanding, no? Dapat fair gito na. And lastly, we have link to course and program objectives. The link to course and program objectives, unsa man din siya? Yes, of course, dapat connected yun siya sa curriculum guide. Dili kay musimbang si teacher na padung sa bugo ang curriculum guide, so si teacher naabot na sa salag. No, dapat connect, link ang learning objective ni teacher sa learning goals. Link ang learning goals or dapat jud link ang learning objectives or goals ni teacher sa curriculum guide. Now, proceed na yun sa ikaduha nga steps. Unsa man ni? Of course, now we have here the second step, which is plan the specific learning activities. Alright, in making lesson plan, dili lang kay importante ang makahibaw ka kung saan paghimo ang imong learning objectives, but dapat hibaw sad ka kung unsa ang angay nimong himuon nga learning activities, which will give your students nga maka-encourage ma-encourage sila og samot nga maminaw sa imuhang discussion. Of course, in planning your specific learning activities, no, its purpose was to develop the skills and knowledge required to demonstrate the effective learning in the course, and of course, it should be directly related to the learning objectives of the course, no? See, no, in planning your specific learning activities required, no, to demonstrate effective learning in the course and should be directly related kung unsa man ang imong learning objectives. Bali, in your lesson plan, dapat connected si learning objectives o si learning activities, no? Note to that, alright? Now, we have here the activity types, no? Na tay daghan na klase nga activity types. First, we have interaction with the content. Unsa dining interaction with the content? Yes, interaction with the content. Example is kato mga lectures, quizzes, student presentation. In other words, interaction with the content is si student is mo interact siya kung unsa man to ang mga content sa gidiscuss ni teacher, no? For example, mag-lecture si teacher diri, pagkahuman mo, give sa daw buwan si student ara, o idea, no? Then quizzes, di ba? So, familiar ra kayo ang tanan, right? Now, the second one, you have interaction with digital content. Unsa man din ni teacher ang interaction with digital content. Yes, no example ni is game, no simulation. Actually, kining interaction with digital content is broader ni siya nakuan. Kay pwede man sa natoy muna kanang game is dili lang kay digital lang, but you can use the traditional way, no? Same with Miss Michelle's activity, right? No? Which is passing the information, no? Yes. Now let's proceed to the third one, which is the interaction with others. Okay, unsa man ni interaction with others, teacher? Yes, understandable na kaayos na nga interact with other, no? Mo na gimin diri, no? Example ni is debate, discussion, feedbacking, and guest speaker, no? Paano naabot man ni si debate diri sa interaction with others, teacher? Yes, it's because in debate, you are interacting each other man, no? Mo save si A sa iyahang ginahan nga i-save. Mo save sad si B sa iyahang ganahan nga i-save. Of course, you are interacting with each other, no? Using your brilliant ideas, no? So, now let's proceed with the problem solving and critical thinking, no? As you see, and critical thinking, example is katong mga case study, concept mapping, and real-world project. Yes, no, importante katong mga research paper, no, money, dere problem solving and critical thinking. Naro na sa imong teacher if mo unsa nga klase nga imong ihatag nga activity sa imong estudyante. And the last one we have reflection. Of course, example ani is example of reflection is reflectional journal, or nakabantay mo nang maghatag si teacher, mag-assign si teacher og needed nato tanaw na salita, and then mo na din si teacher na give your reflection paper in 200 words, no, using 200 words. Yes, teacher. Oh, di ba mo na din tanan, di ba? So naara gyud na sa teacher kung unsa nga type imong ginahan nga gamiton in planning your specific learning activities. Now, let's move forward to plan to assess the student's understanding. So, man din yung pag-assess sa kanang kuha teacher or sa student understanding teacher. So, sa yun na yun kayo ni, no? In planning to assess the student understanding, first, no? Assessments like tests, no? Problem sets, and etc. No, it provides opportunities for students to demonstrate and practice the knowledge and skills, and of course, for instructors to offer targeted feedback that can guide further learning. Of course, klaro na kay tanan na ang kinidi ay pagplano sa teacher na dapat na activities, no? Para atong matest kung napaginasabtan atong mga estudyante, no? It is highlighted there na ang test, ang problem sets, and etc. mauna siya ang, or in other words, ang assessments, mga assessments, mauna sila ang first nga strategy to assess the student's understanding. Yes, now let's proceed to step number 4, which is plan to sequence the lesson in engaging and meaningful manner. In some teacher, sequence daw ang lesson in an engaging and meaningful manner. Okay, first we have gain attention. Now, first we have gain attention. Pinaka-importante din sa tanan is to gain attention, guys. Same sa game mo ni Mr. Arlie Sugoyano na lisod kaayo dakpon ang attention sa mga bata, no? Mga 15 to 30 minutes sa gitna nimo pwede madakpan, at the rest ana is mag-chill na lang gina sila. Chill in, no, inana na lang gina mga bata, which is very important na need nimo mag-grab ang attention sa mga bata, no? According to them na gain to plan to sequence the lesson in an engaging and meaningful manner. First pinanimo is to gain attention, which is obtain the student's attention. Same sa kung ingon ganina, balik ko na ko, lisod kayo dakpon ang attention discussion sa mga bata. Especially, kining mga bata nga, digital literate na kayo, di ba? Now, sa letter B, we have information, inform learner of objectives. Of course, dili lang kay si teacher lang dapat nakahibaw kung sa ang learning objectives sa discussion. Of course, needs sad nato mahibawon ang atong mga estudyante, no? Inform learner of objectives. Allow student organize their thoughts. Dapat makahibaw sa kini ang amo ang discussion karon kay is all about lesson planning. Inani dapat prepared sa ang bata kung unsang ilahang ma-absorb na ideas sa kana nga discussion, no? And the third, we have stimulate the recall of prior knowledge. Of course, dili lang kay si teacher mo diretso lang siya o rakak dayon gira dayon siya sa current nga lesson, kundi i-recall sa gito ang past nga na-discuss para sa ma-recall sa bata kung sa to ang iyahang past na na-learn. Yes, and of course, para sa ma-connect sa bata kung sa to ang past niya nga learn and of course sa iyahang current nga na-learn nga ma-learn karon, no? And of course, the fourth one, we have present new content. After nimo og recall sa bata kung unsa man to ang iyang na-learn pag past meeting ninyo, of course, presentahin ka og new discussion, which is your main topic na imuha ng ihatag, ipa-observe sa bata. The fifth one, we have provide guidance, no? Provide guidance, advise students of strategies to aid learning. Of course, kung nakay bata nga naglisod, pwede jud kaayo si teacher mo hatag og advice, no? Kung unsay needed niyang ihatag para makasabot ang bata, and of course, dali ra sa bata nga ma-reach kung unsa man ang iyang gilisdan. And of course, no, the sixth one we have practice. Okay, in practice, allow student to apply knowledge and skills learn. Of course, after sa bata na iyan atong gi-recall, pagkahuman ihatag kag new nga discussion. After anag hatag kag new discussion, imo silang gi-assess. After nimo assess ana sa bata, imo dayong ipa-practice sa ilaha kung unsa man to ang skills and information nga imuhang gi-absorb sa ila para ilahang ma-master, no? Para ma-master nila. Now, let's proceed to the seventh one, which is provide feedback. Teacher, sa marinig provide feedback, teacher. Okay, in providing feedback, no? As a teacher, you will provide an immediate feedback to assess and facilitate learning. Of course, after ni magpa-practice sa ilaha, if ever na kay makitaan nga sayop si student, obligated si teacher nga dapat iyan ang makorreksyonan ang nasayupan sa bata. It is the teacher's responsibility na dapat iyang sakto kung unsa man to ang nasayupan sa bata. The eighth one, which is assess performance. Assess performance. Teacher, saan man ipag-assess sa performance sa mga bata? Yes, to assess the performance of your students, it is very simple, no? To evaluate the effectiveness of the instructions. Of course, if feel nimo na buwag pa gamay o explanation na inyong students, of course, it's either balikon pa ba nimo or ilisa nimo laing nga strategy. So that's it, no? To assess the performance of your student, dapat dili nimo biyaan as a teacher, dili nimo biyaan ang imong estudyante nga naglisod. Kaya sa teacher, we need to facilitate them, let them up, no? Para dili sila maawaki or mabiyaan. And the last one we have to enhance retention and transfer. Enhance retention and transfer. Unsa man din siya? Yes, allow student to apply information. Of course, after nimo hatag na kag feedback, hatag na kag insakto nga information yun. Of course, imo na dayon ipa-enhance sa iyaha, ipagamit na sa iyaha kung unsa man gyud ito ang information nga imuhang gihatag sa iya or skills no nga imuhang i-observe sa iya ha. Yes. Now let's proceed to the fifth step in planning your lesson plan. Now it's to create a realistic timeline. Yes, create a realistic timeline. We have estimate how much time each of the activities will take, and each activity indicate how much time you expect it will take, and 1 few minutes at the end of the class to answer the remaining questions and sum with the key points. Then plan an extra activity or discussion questions in case you have time left, no? And be flexible, ready to adjust your lesson plan to student needs and focus, no, on what seems to be more effective rather than sticking to your original plan. Of course, it is very important, no, as a teacher, you need to practice to be a flexible teacher. Dapat dili lang ka mustik sa imuhang original plan, rather needed nimo na mo jump in sa another plan if possible kay imo nakitan, if ever imo makitan nga naglisod bang estudyante, no? So that's it. Dapat flexible ra jud ka as a teacher. Of course, and in planning your lesson plan, dapat sad as a teacher, in every activity, in every part no nga needed nimo ang attention nila, you need to give time. Dapat naagi na siya time for me. Digid ka mahutag time, ha? As a teacher, you need to give time, no? Kung pila man gyud ang ma-take ana sa kanang usa ka activity, magbutang kag time. As a whole, magbutang kag time. It's either, for example, sa kaniya to ang discussion karon, right? No, maabot ta 1 minute and 30 seconds. If ever akong makabantayan sa inyo mga napay naglisod o catch up, of course, I will lessen the parts na kung asa mas lisod na and mo-focus ata sa katong part nga nalisdan ninyo para dili ta mo mabiyaan, no? Again, i-note yun na ninyo nga as a teacher, you need to be flexible. Now, let's move on to the last step, which is plan for a lesson closure. Lesson closure. Unsa man ni teacher? Yes, plan for a lesson closure, which is provide opportunity to solidify student learning, useful for both students and instructor, no? Use the closure, check for student understanding. Yes. Emphasize key information. Yes. Tie up loose ends. And correct students' misunderstanding. Lastly, review upcoming topics. Of course, in planning your lesson plan, dapat naasad yung pinaka-importante sa nanan ang closure. Yes, kay lain kayo ang klase kung walay magtingog-tingog no kung si teacher ang magyaw-yaw diri sa tubangan. Why lang mi ang klase. Dapat naagyoy interaction within the students, no? At the end, of course, ang kining sa learning closure, lesson closure, dinhi na part is that si teacher and si student is naasalay time to exchange ideas. Si students mangutan mag-ask, as well as si teacher may muhatag sa direct information, clearer information nga naliggan sa estudyante. And of course, no, kinisang lesson closure is very important sa both students and teacher. Why? It's because, no, in this part, ma-enhance yun ang relation, no, connectivity between a teacher and students. That's why maong importante yun kayo sa ni. And of course, no, in the last part of your lesson plan, it is very important na as a teacher, you will sum up or you will give the final words, no, about sa imuhang tanan nga discussion. And lastly, imo sad siya ipaila-ila kung unsa man inyuhang sunod nga lesson nga i-discuss. Yes, para aware ang student kung sunod na po na mo nga meeting is inani na po na mo ang topics. Yes, dapat dili makalitan ng imong estudyante. a conclusion, or in other words, in this part, the teacher will give the final word. Yes, that was I said last a minute ago, no? Related to the lesson being discussed, as well as students will also generate new ideas from the lesson being discussed. Yes, so that's it. Those are the steps in making lesson plan. Of course, that was before, no? Before pa na mag-start. That was before pa na mag-start ang klase. Now, during the class, in presenting your lesson plan, always take note that letting your student know what they will be learning and doing in class will help keep them more engaged and on track. Yes, same sa kung kanina nga, dapat dili lang si teacher ang nakahibaw kung unsa man ang mga mahitabo sa ilahang actual discussion, dapat si students po makihibaw. Yes, no? And of course, now let's move on to, since humanata sa before the class, manata sa during the class, and now move on na sa after the class. After the class, reflecting on your lesson plan. Always take note that take a few minutes after each class to reflect on what worked well and what you could have done differently if needed. Revise your lesson plan. Okay. After the class, dili lang kay diretso na, okay na, nakasabot ako sa estudyante. No. Dapat, as a teacher, will give time sa atong kaugalingon kung you will give time sa imong kaugalingon kung i-reflect sa di mo imong kaugalingon. Na ba kayo nasabtan na kung mga estudyante sa akong i-discuss karon? Dali na ba pala para sa ilahang akong i-discuss karon? Yes. Those are the questions nga makapareflect, makaparealize sa imo nga needed siguro na ako i-revise, no? Kay murag naglisod pa ang uban. Almost 70% sa akong estudyante is naglisod pa. As a teacher, you have the power to manage your lesson plan, no? And if needed yun, i-revise yun na. As a teacher, dili lang kay importante ang pag-sweldo nato, kundi importante pag yun. Mas importante pag yun kung unsa ang na-learn sa atong estudyante. Yes, now, since humanata, we will proceed to our conclusion.
Yes, as future educators, we should always be flexible enough in dealing different attitudes of learners. We should play as an open-minded individual who can teach and also learn from the lessons even in a real-world situation. Thus, in making a lesson plan, you don't need to perfectly follow your original plan in a step-by-step, but always put in your mind that the important factor there is that you will be able to impart the lesson you want to share, and the student will also understand your main goal as a teacher.
That's it. So, we will end here. Natapos na gid ang tanan, no? Again, this is Rizal Carmina Narvasa, and hoping na naadjud mo yung nakuha nga information which is makatabang na sa inyo in the future, in the very near future. So that's it. Goodbye, class. See you soon.